Welcome to the Rental Licensing Inspection Lunch and Learn series. This series is being presented by the Neighborhood Services team here from the Planning and Code Administration Department. We're going to walk you through a rental inspection, going through different aspects of a property, room by room. This is not a full comprehensive review of an inspection. We're going over the most common types of items that we come across in residential units, and we don't want you to use this webinar as a checklist. The webinar is really only an advisory, and each property owner is still responsible for making sure you're compliant with any of the applicable codes. For the next couple of weeks here, what we're going to do is we're going to give you what the inspector's thoughts are as they go through an inspection in each of the rooms. And so you can get a better understanding of what we're looking for when we're actually conducting a rental inspection. At the end of the webinar, we're going to open it up to any questions that you may have about them. To submit a question, you can click or tap on the Q&A button just to make sure that you are able to ask a question. Just type it in, and then you can ask any questions you may have about the particular room we're going over the aspects. So today, we're going to walk you through the bathroom, as we can probably tell here. And I'm actually going to be your inspector. The room's only so big, and we can't fit everyone in here with us to be able to broadcast this and have multiple people in here. So today, I'm going to be your inspector, and I am certified as a property maintenance inspector with the International Code Council. So I'm going to put down my clipboard because I know generally what I'm talking about here for an inspection, but I don't know what the intro is every week. So when an inspector comes into a bathroom, the first thing that we're looking at is the flooring here. We're making sure, is it smooth? Is it cleanable? Is it non-absorbent? Is it tacked down? Like, is the linoleum tacked down to the floor, or the tiles are secure and in place? Then we're also moving on to the walls here. While we're looking at the floors, making sure the same things here with the walls as far as any holes, damage, those types of things. Also, is the painting intact? Is the painting secure to the wall here? Is it peeling off the wall? And then also the mold and mildew issue. So we're in a bathroom here, and mold and mildew does happen. A lot of times it happens right here at the end of the tub and shower area, where water will get on those and damage the drywall or create a mold or mildew issue that we might also see inside the actual bathroom or bathtub area itself. So looking at all of those items. One of the things is also electric. We're going to be looking at the outlets that are in a bathroom. Every bathroom is required to have one outlet, and it's got to be ground fault protected, or GFCI. When we're looking at the outlet, want to make sure that there are no burn marks on it, that there isn't any melting of the outlet, there's nothing blocking the outlet from being properly used. Everything of those aspects, making sure that you can actually use the outlet, and then it trips and resets and functions with our testers to making sure that if there was a circuit interrupt that needed to occur because of an issue, that it functions properly. Then also we're looking at the ventilation of a bathroom. So in here we have a window, and we will want to make sure that the window opens. How much does a window need to open in a bathroom, though? That's a common question that we might get, and it's 1.5 square feet that needs to open. So essentially, if a window is 2 foot wide, it needs to at least open 1 foot high. It's even less than that, because if it's 2 foot wide by 1 foot high, that would be 2 square feet. So we're looking for 1.5 square feet. So the window needs to open. Today being really hot, we had this one open so we can let in some air. But when the window opens here, it needs to stay open on its own. It needs to be on its own hardware. The glass needs to be intact. The glazing needs to be in place. And also we're looking at any of the surfaces that are painted. This is being a replacement window, but any of our older windows in home need to make sure that the paint is intact and not any chipping and flaking with that. Also, we're looking at it, is it weather tight? The window needs to be weather tight so that it's preventing any entry of any of the outside elements. Also, does the window lock? Sometimes to create the weather tight aspect, the window needs to lock so that it creates a tight seal on it. Here we're on the second floor of a house. So would the window need to lock on the second floor? That's kind of like a yes-no type answer. That if it could be weather tight without being locked, then no, it doesn't need to lock. But if the lock is there, it does need to function. So that's kind of a decision to be made on those. But generally, if the lock's there, the lock should function. Now, let's say this was a multi-unit apartment building, and we are on the backside of a multi-story apartment building, and the fire escape goes out back. And then this window is right here, and I have a walking surface that's within 6 feet of this window. That will need to lock no matter what, because it is within 6 feet of a walking surface. It is to lock to keep the unit secure. And that's why a lot of times, like I said, with the 1.5 square feet of openable area, you see smaller windows a lot of times in bathrooms. Now, let's say you don't have a window in your bathroom. Well, it still needs to ventilate. So you need to have an exhaust fan. It's probably off camera here, but we have an exhaust fan in this bathroom here. And it needs to at least move 50 cubic feet per minute. So that means how much changeover air in the bathroom every minute. And 50 cubic feet, it may sound like a lot, or it might sound like it's a heavy duty type of ventilation fan, but it's not. Actually, 50 cubic feet is the standard size that's sold in any of your big box retail stores. You really can't find anything less than 50 feet, or 50 cubic feet. So anything that you pretty much would purchase at one of those would actually move the minimum requirement of air through the bathroom for a ventilation fan. Now, with the fan itself, that we need to make sure that it's secured and it's properly installed, and that any wiring going to it is actually protected. At times it will be done through conduit, and we need to make sure that it's actually in the conduit and not just wire tacked to the wall. Also, the fan needs to vent to the exterior. This is a common item that we come across, where you can see the fan in here that just goes through the ceiling, but when we get up to the attic areas, we will see that the fan does not terminate to the outside, and it actually just dumps the air into the attic. So why do we really care if it dumps the fan or dumps that air into the attic? The one thing that the window and the fan is designed to do in a bathroom is to remove any of the moisture or humidity that's created when you're in a bathroom here from using the shower and getting hot water in here. So that is to move all of that types of elements out of here to prevent any of that mold and mildew damage that can occur inside of a bathroom. So that is why a fan needs to be exhausted to the exterior of a property, just to make sure you're properly getting rid of those types of elements and preventive care type maintenance to the property. Also, in a fan or just in general, you will have a light fixture. So one light fixture is required in a bathroom. So you must have a light fixture in a bathroom. Like I just said, some windows are not required in a bathroom. So let's just think if you were in a bathroom at night and you had no window, how are you going to see when you're in the bathroom? So you need to have one switch controlled bathroom light in there. When we're looking at the light, it needs to be secured into the location, and if it's designed to have a globe, it is to be the globe is to be in place, and then also that we need the light bulbs in place for an inspection. That is so that we can ensure that the equipment is actually functioning as it's supposed to. So the light bulbs do need to be in place. Now, what about if I have an outlet and a light fixture? Like we've mentioned in previous webinar episodes, that you do need to have that removed or disabled from the light fixture. We do come across them in a lot of our older homes in town, not so much in newer residences that we see in Hagerstown. All right, so I've mentioned a lot of things so far, but I haven't really talked about the main thing in the room that we're in. We are in the bathroom, so you gotta have a bathroom group. So what is a bathroom group? A bathroom group is a sink, or also known as lavatory, and then we have our toilet, which is also known as a water closet, and then you have to have a tub or a shower or a combination thereof. We have the tub shower combo here in this bathroom we're in here today. When we look at these types of fixtures, we want to ensure that they are secure, that they are anchored to the walls and they're caulked to the floors. They're to be there so that they do not create any type of rocking situation. Why does that really matter? Well, if you're creating any type of rocking situation, that can loosen any of your supply or waste lines that are going into those fixtures, which would then rupture, potentially create leaks, and then create more damage inside the residence. So these are to be secured to the walls or the floors and to be properly caulked and sealed. With our sink and our tub, you are to have hot and cold water. Not only cold water for a toilet, but a hot and cold water for a sink and a tub/shower. Now, with the temperature of those, it's to be a minimum of 110 degrees Fahrenheit and a maximum of 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Why is the maximum 140? Because over that point, scalding could be created by higher temperatures. So it's to be no more between that. So that's a lot of times when you see an inspector come into the bathroom, they'll turn on the faucets and they'll be letting the water run. We're letting the hot water get into the system. Granted, we turn on the hot and cold. We'll turn off the cold first to be able to check to make sure we're getting hot water inside the fixtures. Like I said about the valves, the reason why we're checking those and we're turning them on, we want to make sure the valves work, that they actually stop, that they can open and close the supply lines for the fixture, and that there's adequate water pressure for each of these fixtures, because we don't want a little trickle coming out of that, because how is someone going to fill a sink or a tub if we got a little trickle coming out of the faucet itself? So it needs to be of adequate pressure. And then also we're looking at the things as far as, are they installed correctly? Is it being supplied with everything correctly? Is it the right materials that are being used for the supply lines into these fixtures? And are they actually done code compliant way in a workmanlike manner? Same thing goes for the drains when they're coming out of the system. We want to make sure the drains are connected into the sewer system, that there are no leaks from any of those drains or supply lines. That's why we're looking underneath the sink when we're doing the inspection. That we're having the proper trap that's in the for the sink. So there's typically an S trap or a P trap. And you can always look those things up yourself, but essentially S traps are grandfathered in traps. P traps are if you're replacing the fixture and it's an older home, you're to go to a P trap type of fixture or to type of drain. And we're going to be looking at those drain lines while they're running, while we're letting the faucet run for a while or the tub, to ensure that there are no clogs that are creating a backup of water inside the drains, that everything's going out as it's designed. And then also with these, the sink and the tub, they are to be provided with stoppers. Now the stoppers can be a couple of choices. It can be the manufacturer stopper that's part of the fixture itself, so that you can have that where you pull up the stopper or pull up the little valve in the tub to make sure that the water will be stopped in that fixture. Or you can buy the stoppers that they can generally sell at the dollar store to be placed in those as well, like we have one here that could be used. So we need to have the stoppers in place as well for these fixtures, so that a occupant can actually pull water in those locations as needed. Also with the faucets, while we're looking at those, particularly with the tub, it's more common where we come across that it has to be above the flood level rim of a tub. What do I mean by over the flood level rim of the tub? So essentially, if I have my rim of my tub here, the faucet has to be above this level. That is to create an air gap between the faucet and the level of the water in the tub. That is to prevent any type of contamination of the system. So at times we get asked the question, well, I have an overflow. Does that meet code then because I have the overflow in there? The overflows are not designed to prevent contamination of the water supply system. The overflows are put in so that if someone left the faucet running, that hopefully the overflow would keep up and it wouldn't flow onto the floor and outside the fixture. So an overflow does not meet the requirement for the faucet above the flood level rim of the tub. Now, you can do two options to kind of meet that code. You could always raise the faucet level, which is generally seen done on clawfoot tubs, where you want to get it above the flood level rim. And then also you can put in backflow preventers. If you're putting in a backflow preventer, a plumbing permit is required for that type of work, because there are valves and indications on those of what direction the water is supposed to flow. And we have seen it where they've been put in incorrectly, and that creates a problem because now the water's not getting to the fixture and it's being pushed back into the system. So you need to make sure that the backflow preventers are put in the right way, and that's done by a plumber. Also, while we're in a place, although on a hot day like today, we might not be thinking about heat, but we will want to make sure that there is the proper heating inside here. Here we have an electric baseboard heat in this unit. We're going to make sure that it was appropriately sized for the bathroom, and so it's providing a minimum of 65 degrees Fahrenheit so that it's able to keep everything warm in here. And if there's one room inside the whole entire house that you want to make sure it keeps warm, is most likely your bathroom. Because if it gets too cold in the bathroom, pipes could freeze and then they bust, and then you got more issues to deal with than the actual not providing heat in the bathroom area. So not only do you have electric baseboard heat, where you could have an outlet above one of the electric baseboard heaters, as always, that's not allowed. That it has to be over the heating elements, or it has to be away from the heating element areas or over the control valves or the controls of the electric baseboard heater. And then if you have like a centralized system that was providing heat inside the home, that it's dumping in the heat in here, that there's no blockages of those supplies into that room so that it is maintaining 65 degrees. Also, when we're looking in a bathroom, when we're looking underneath the sink and around the toilets and in the tub areas, they're to be clean. They're to be move-in ready. So any mold and mildew types of things that get built up, a lot of times with these shower and tub combos where they might seal together and they're caulked together, we get a lot of buildup of mold and mildew in those areas. That is not clean and that's not move-in ready. So they are to be, properly scraped or cleaned and applied new material in that area. So they got to be move-in ready type residences. And then also while we're leaving the bathroom area here, we're going to go out the door. So we can't see the door in here, but we're going to go out the door here. We're looking at the overall condition of the door. No holes, that it's in good shape, that it actually swings as it's supposed to do. It fits inside the frame, that it actually shuts, it latches, and it locks. So a bathroom is to lock to create a space for privacy, essentially. So we're looking at the overall door itself. And then, as always, we're looking in every room for any type of signs of infestation. There shouldn't be any signs of infestation to make sure that this is an insect-free type of space for the people to be able to live in. So for a quick recap of some of the items that I went over, we're looking at the flooring, we're going to be looking at the walls, we're going to be looking at the electrical components such as the outlets and the light fixture. We're going to be looking at the ventilation of the room, whether or not it's a window or an exhaust fan. Then we're also going to be looking at the overall fixtures in the bathroom. And I'm going to close this window so we don't get the outside noise here coming in. And so we're going to be looking at the individual fixtures themselves. And also, does it supply heat? Is it clean? Does the door function as needed? And then also any type of infestation. So now we usually kick it back over to Paul here, but I'm here today, so let me go back to my stuff here that we have, because I don't know this by heart. All right, so, I didn't cover every aspect of an actual bathroom or any type of condition that we might come across while conducting inspection. Hagerstown's certainly unique type of town, so each bathroom is probably going to be different from structure to structure. Our goal is just to give you a general overview of an inspection so you get a better idea of what we're looking at. And if you have any particular specific questions about your residence, you can always email us at codecompliance@hagerstownmd.org where we can answer those types of questions. But now I'm going to kind of open things up to some general questions that anyone might have. And I know I did not cover everything, so please make sure you ask any questions here. And I'm going to try to pull that up on my phone here. So I know I have a couple questions that we generally come across, and I know I kind of mentioned that while I was talking about some items that we might come across while doing an inspection. So one that we typically have, that even though this is a small bathroom here and we have one outlet in here, that Hagerstown, like I said, is unique, and sometimes when it was built, there was not indoor plumbing inside those residences. So the question we get is that if this is a really large bathroom and I have multiple outlets in that bathroom, do they all need to be ground fault protected? The answer to that question is yes. Any outlet in a bathroom needs to be ground fault protected. No matter if it is 10, 20 feet away from a fixture, any outlet in a bathroom must be ground fault protected. I can tell already I went way over on our amount of time that we generally go over. Bathroom has a lot of items with it. As always, if anyone has any questions, don't hesitate to ask us. You can always email us at codecompliance@hagerstownmd.org to ask those questions. As always, I thank everyone for being part of this webinar series. It's been great putting these on, and please be sure to follow us on any of our social media accounts. We have Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you search PCAD Hagerstown, and that's PCAD Hagerstown, on any of those platforms, you can find us and certainly like us and follow what's going on. So, thank you all again for being part of the webinar series today. Please sign up for the next webinar where we'll be going over bedrooms and the requirements with those. An email will go out later today, and thank you all again.